Mojo. Say hi to the people.
Hey y'all, hey. How's everybody doing? We are here. We are here.
We are here. I am excited in particular because we've been getting this ball rolling, and I've been checking out your Monday moments forever, and we've talked about that, and we have the cipher. Go check out that cipher episode where we talk more about this and some other things in terms of our lives and the bless your heart stories and love and dating and all the good things that we'll talk on about on this show. And so
Yes, yeah.
um,
Cheers
I'm
to us.
excited
Cheers
though.
to that.
Yeah, first of all, and I have
Happy
coffee here.
Halloween. That's okay.
See, you got the theme. You always have the
You
themes. I always
already
love it.
know. You already know.
I respect that. We today, just so you know, we are actually recording this on Halloween. So Daphne's my wife. Daphne and I have already made our plan. We're gonna hang out. We got this candy ready, and we're gonna make sure these kids know they can come here. I'm good for that. You come by my house, you're gonna get a fistful of candy now. I'm not you gonna do all right, you come by this house.
I have something for that. So mommy just came in was telling me she made a sign that said take a look and take a book because the book person in me. We're putting out a box of books so
I
the kids
love
can take
that.
some candy and some books. We're gonna have candy too.
Yeah. No, I like that.
Hmm.
I'm a fan. Look, there's so much that encourages kids not to be kids. That I'm like,
You ain't
if this
never
is a
lied.
moment where we tell the kids to be kids, I am for it. I
You
go on
see
and
what I'm
just
saying?
go on and
That is a
relax.
great point.
You know
That's
what
a
I
great
mean?
point.
Each little starburst. Life is full of all sorts of stuff. Just go on and enjoy starburst for a day. But anyway,
Right, right.
that's my
That's some
that's my
sugar. I know it's supposed to be anti-sugar. I know.
right. I'm like, come on, just leave them alone. But yes. So, but the point being of all of that and the cipher and all that is that I enjoy Monday moments, and we've talked about this and we've gone over this, and so I'm really excited about having this version that we're doing where we get a chance to dig in a little further. Because I noticed with you, usually at the end of your hour, I don't get the sense you have exhausted your curiosity.
You already know. Sometimes I need a part two. Oh, I should
Yeah.
say, by the way, that Monday Moments is a show that I have every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I invite a special guest. And we just talk about how you find your mojo. And finding your mojo just means how you show up as your authentic self and all of these difficult things we have to deal with in this thing called life. So Mondays, 8 p.m. EST on YouTube or Instagram.
So we are
Mojo
gonna
tonight.
have that handle, and we're gonna have that link in the show notes. I gotta get better about these show notes. We getting there. Progress over
We are.
perfection,
Word
but
up.
we got to make sure that stuff is there. So please go and check these out. I watch pretty much every week, and I'm lucky because I can always request. I can always request a direct video being sent to me. You know, I got access like that. But no, but you go and check it out. And some of these conversations are just fascinating, and people from all different walks of life and all the things. So I love having this opportunity for us to jump into some of the ideas that you bump into during the show, because so often I'm even sitting there watching on YouTube like, ooh, I wish you. Oh well, I know that's not the point of the conversation, but so this is my chance to say, I noticed this, I noticed that. We can talk about it a little bit. But yeah,
Yes,
tell
yes.
me about Tito, like how you know him and how you came to interview him, and sort of fill folks in a little bit on who he is in that conversation.
I was going to say Tito weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I had the pleasure of having Tito, who also calls himself, I'm not going to remember right, Saeed, I think, um, visit my show. And basically, our conversation, y'all can go to the show and then y'all find out his name for real. But anyway, we had a conversation about, I think I titled it mental health awareness. We're talking about music because he's an artist, and we
Mm-hmm.
were also talking about therapy and importance of therapy. So I think what you mentioned earlier, one of the things that stood out for you was the therapy piece we touched upon.
Yeah, and there were a couple of things that stood out to me, but there was something that he said that really hit me. It's so important to be present, and we talk about that, and that's a part of all sorts of different traditions and religions, and just I think anybody who is at all looking at how we live would, on some level, say it's important to be present. But
Mm-hmm.
he said, and I'm gonna, because I wrote it down as a quote. I need to talk about right now, right now. And he was talking
Yes,
about his
yes,
therapy
yep.
and that, yeah, sometimes we go into what happened in the past, but he had so much going on in his life in this moment that he was like, we haven't even gotten to all of that. Like, I need to talk about right now, right now. And anyway, I one that hit me, and I have my own thoughts. But did that quote strike you at all? And like now, even as I say it, does it? Yeah, does it have any resonance?
Yes, and I should say, I looked on my own flyer. Lenny Sadir. I met him as Tito, so I don't always remember his screen name. Lenny Sadir. And you asked me how I met him. I met him at work. I work at Scholastic, and he is works on our IT team. So we just
Nice.
got to talking one day, and then it came up in conversation all the different facets of the things he does in his life. Yes. Now to answer your current question, yes, that did strike me because he also led into the fact that it was at work. One of my colleagues, coworkers, saw him and said to him, "What's wrong? Like, how are you doing? How are you
Mm-hmm.
feeling?" So
Mm-hmm.
that when you call that out, I need to talk right now, right now. He said he needed her to say to ask him that he needed
In
to
that
be
moment,
seen
that's right.
in
That's
that
right. That's
moment.
right.
So
That's
that
right.
really, yeah, so that did really stand out with me because you can say that, oh, she need a therapist, he need to go get a therapist, but what about right now though? Because I mean, I got
Yeah.
to call people. That means I have to
Right.
research which one's the right one. How do I find one? Does my insurance take it? So
Right. And that there have been so many times, and you and I have talked about it in the context of coaching, but just in life, where either I've been the one asking or some whatever, and the person just like he described that scene of him just sort of like breaking down, the just being asked, right? And I've been there, like I don't know, I've been there where you get that hug, or even just that somebody even noticed,
yeah, yeah.
and how important it is where we can, where it's appropriate, right? Like, it
Right,
might not be
where is
appropriate to
that?
roll up somebody on the New York City subway talk about, are you okay? You know what I mean? Like, but what are we doing? But
Mm-hmm.
to pay attention and to let people know they can read that you're available for that. Like when he said that it was a woman who came up to him, part of me thought, yeah, probably it would be.
Mm-hmm.
And that struck me as that like that's not what dudes do. I saw a video recently. If I can find it, I'll share the link. But where Trevor Noah was talking about how when guys get together, there's always a third thing, and I was like, he's on point. I was like, and
I
I've
didn't know
noticed
about
this in the
that.
past. If I say to my friend, for example, I was gonna get together with my buddy Kwame, right? We hadn't seen each other in a while, blah blah blah, and so my instinct was like, oh, come over on a Monday, we'll watch Monday Night Football, we'll chop it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I would almost never say to him, just off rip, like, let's just go sit down and hang out. Not natural, you know what I mean? Like after we've done it, because like then we did do a thing where like he, I, and like a third friend, we used to like just go hang out at his house, and he had a fire pit. We just kind of kick it out there and have a
Uh-huh.
drink or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So we got a little more. We got a little bit more of that idea that we could just hang out and talk.
Mm-hmm.
But naturally, I'm gonna be like, there's a game, there's a fight, even there's a show, like there's something like, or we go to something, right? So if we go to
Okay,
like
so
dinner
that's
at
what you
this,
mean. It's the
it's
third thing.
yeah. Whereas I
Okay.
think it would not be. I think Daphne would be much more likely that she would connect with somebody and they would be like, "I'll see you Saturday night." Like,
Mm-hmm.
and the event is each other.
Yeah, that's and especially me and my grown up age. That's really what it is, and so much so it makes me think of when we were talking about what were we going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
That sometimes the therapy is hanging out with your friend just because you want to hang out with your
Right.
friend, or just making that connection with your friend. So sometimes that's the therapy session you have right now until you can get to the actual therapy
Yes.
session.
And
Yeah.
and I like the idea of it too because you can fall into, like I said to you, like we can fall into, oh, on Tuesday from 1 to 2, I handle my emotional well-being. Like, no.
Right, because it falls there every
That's not,
Tuesday. That's
you know
where
what
it
I
goes.
mean? Like, you know, and so I do think there's value in thinking about what are the things we can each really do, sort of building on his point, but saying, yes, even taking it more to right now, what are some of those things that we can be doing um, to take care of ourselves and to make sure that we are like for what I need in this moment. And sometimes for me, what's been a challenge is I know what I actually need, but there's other stuff that I think I'm supposed to be doing.
Mm.
Right. So, and I've shared stuff about, it's been a rough few years, frankly. And a lot of what I need, I'm seeing is rest. I do really just need like a ton of rest. And I don't just even mean just sleep. Like, I am taxed.
That's a
And
good point.
it's so challenging to figure out how I both rest and build the stuff I'm trying to build and, move things forward and do align the way I want it to be and build it to what we want it to be and what we've been working on. So when he said that, I was like, yeah, like even more into the moment. Can
Why
I
did you?
can I distinguish it? Sorry, go ahead.
No, it just made me think. As you said that, after I did the show, I was talking to a friend who doesn't usually watch this show and happened
Mm,
to be watching that day,
mm-hmm,
also a black male. And he
mm,
said to me, you know what, that really made me think about when I went to therapy. He was talking about himself and what
mm-hmm.
made him go to therapy. He said that was a good point to bring up, and it just really made him happy that he chose to go to
Right.
therapy because of some of the things you and I were talking about earlier, just that black men face and how to deal with stuff and finding out who you are to be able to connect with other people. So it was,
Yeah.
yeah, it was really enlightening. First of all, it made me happy that I'm doing Monday Moments because I'm like, oh, somebody's listening.
Yeah.
And secondly, I said, I'm glad that you know how Oprah used to always say on her shows, if one person gets something from this
Right.
conversation, then
Right.
you're doing something. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you know of at least two. Yeah. No, really. I mean, and it's interesting you even say that about the therapy. I think there is a growing, and I'm very glad to see it. I've done some
Mhm.
version of therapy over the years, probably for like 20 years now in serious ways, not straight through, but,
Mhm.
and I'm a fan and I'm a proponent. And I feel like the more it's getting normalized, the less it's about like, oh, you're suicidal or something, and then you go. It's like, no, like actually some of the best work I did was come like I dealt with a more crisis kind of moment with my present therapist. And then he was sort of like professionally, as a professional responsibility, he was sort of like, well, we've you came here to do something and we kind of did it. So if you want to stop now, and I told them, nah. I was like, nah, we gonna keep going this time, and I want to get to how I keep ending up back. Need to deal with some new version of whatever, and it was so valuable. But I would say that to people, and specifically to black men and men in general, it you might do the most powerful work when it's not a crisis,
Mm.
right? Like the stuff that's going to be lasting, the stuff that's going to help you to get to handle things differently next time.
Because so funny you mentioned a few things that he mentioned because he said at certain points he wasn't ready to uncover some of that stuff, but that once he did. But yeah, Sadir said that on the call that at first he was shying away from therapy because he was like, I don't want to deal with that. I want to bring all of this stuff up.
But here's what I found, and this takes us into some what I'm thinking about. When we talk about the day to day, when we talk about align your mojo and using this stuff in your regular life. My experience of it is it's all there either way. That's what I've really learned.
How about that?
What I've really learned is as I've really gotten to know myself better, and that's really how I would describe it. That I've gotten to know myself better. I understand, like not just like, oh, I like this and I don't like that, but understanding what's underneath some of those things, and then actually some of the things that I might have assumed were bad, things that make me angry, let's say, or
Mm-hmm.
I become angry in response to them.
Mm-hmm. The
But to
triggers.
understand why, and sometimes I'm like, you know what, it was a trigger. It's no longer a trigger because I'm aware of the process. But you know what, I'm still mad about it, and that's okay. Like, you know what I mean? But that's a huge difference than to just be triggered and mad. To really
Yeah, yeah.
understand, like,
Right, it
this is
is.
an injustice, and when I see an injustice, I'm not gonna be happy.
It's
So,
funny. The same friend
you
was
know,
telling me this is why he got into therapy because he said I was getting too mad. Like I didn't need to be that mad, especially at that thing. So I needed to figure out what I needed to do to stop being this mad or
and
angry. Even.
and to be angry all the time. I sent one time I was talking to my cousin about something. I want to come back to this anger piece specifically, but and I sent him there's a scene, and I forget which Marvel movie it is. I know people are very serious about their Marvel movies. I'm
So don't mess it
sorry.
up. Don't mess
I'm
it
sorry.
up.
I know. I'm like, I'm already
Okay.
apologizing. I'm not even gonna guess. But Hulk is there, and the enemy's coming, and the Hulk. They're like, it's Dr. Banner, and he's walking toward it, and he said, and Captain America asked him, like, don't you need to, like, get angry? And he said, that's my secret. I'm always angry.
Mm,
And when I tell you, there's just certain moments in
mm,
movies or whatever, I was like, they don't get that. They
no.
think it's the other way. I'm like, no, I'm being calm all the other times. That's the work. That's the different part.
Yeah.
I
How
could be
about that?
mad, and I think part of why we can be mad is that's one thing I was always allowed to be.
Mm,
People might have been upset with me for being mad or behaving in an angry way, really, because they don't care if you're actually angry. Like, people just respond to your behavior, right? So, okay, but they might have been upset, but I was never mocked for being mad. I was mocked for
mm,
being sad. I was mocked for being a
mm,
number of things, but I was never mocked for being mad. And I think
mm.
we train ourselves and each other to have such a limited way of expressing there's something going on inside of me. Like,
Yeah.
even saying it just like that, like, it felt a little bit like somebody's gonna hear that and think I'm soft. but it's just true. If you find yourself irate, something happened. There's a reaction.
That's true.
You
Something happened.
you have to be able to understand it, and I think to be able to only understand it as angry or excited, or just like this very limited thing, I think it gets us into all sorts of trouble. And of course, you can't connect with other people because connect on what? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
think about it as, we talk about the bless your heart stories. If you're like, I need, that emotional support of somebody understanding what I'm going through, but he don't.
So true.
It ain't
And
like you
I don't
said,
understand what's going on with him that make him act so stupid. So there
right?
you
And
go.
you're like, what is wrong with you? I am expressing a normal human emotion. And
That
I
part.
think for the majority of dudes, myself included, sometimes you come in here with some fuchsia, and I'm like, listen, I got blue, I got red, I might could pull this
Yeah.
purple out this box. But you
You
came in with
ain't got
some
no future. I don't know
fuchsia.
about that. Like,
I don't know about that fuchsia life. And I've heard people use that crayon thing before, but I think it's real. I think it's,
and I
guys,
don't think I
yeah.
knew what to call it, but yeah, yeah, it's real.
Like, I don't. Yeah, I guess I'll turn it to a question now as I'm exploring what that brought up for me. I mean, is that your experience? Yes, in the bless your heart stories, but more broadly, when I say that, does that seem on point? That, like, part of the lack of connection is that, like, if you don't, if the, is when you've had that moment, does it feel like he don't get it for him? It's not he don't get it for you. He don't get it. Period. And that's a
Oh,
problem.
that
But
is a great question. That is a great question because it makes me, I don't even know if it's the answer to your question, but it makes me think of other things. The first thing it makes me think about, I don't think in that moment, I think about the connection. I just think about that is dumb. Like how could you not get it? Like it never even occurred. Like I'm very logical. Maybe that's what
yeah,
it is. And to me, it seems logical. It doesn't
right.
compute. that you don't know fuchsia.
Right. Like, what
Everybody
do you
knows
mean?
fuchsia. It's
I mean,
fuchsia.
there it is, right in front of you. Right.
Right. So no, I don't think it occurred to me. But what as I stepped out of the relationship or the conversation or whatever it was, yes, now
Mm-hmm.
because when you're saying it to me, it does sound logical. It does make sense.
Right.
You don't know what future is. That's why he don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So yes. But what it also made me think of is when we were talking about feelings or how I felt when that did happen. I felt betrayed is too strong of a word, but I almost felt like
Mm-hmm.
they were doing it on purpose. Like, you're
Right.
doing it to hurt me. And my response to that, especially in my early years of dating and being so over you, bless your heart, was just blocking myself off, not allowing myself to go that deep.
Yeah.
Especially not in the beginning, which I'm not really that mad at because people
Well,
guys sometimes guys can be dumb. And
right.
if I
Right.
went, you shouldn't go. I mean, anyway, this is not a dating conversation, but it allowed me to see what was out there first before I just went. Because sometimes I
Yeah.
think, especially as women, we go all and we meet him today, we get the number, we be like, oh yeah, that's my new boyfriend. So tomorrow, and then the next day. So it
Right.
made me not do that as quick, and even in the midst of the madness, not feel like my world is over if this doesn't work out.
It's interesting you said that thing though about protecting,
Yes, protect.
because I think a lot of guys, I think we're kind of trained to do that to a certain degree. And I'm like, I think so
Wait,
much
you're
of what I
trained to do
see
what? Tell me, guys
to
are trained to
to
do
not
what?
to not connect,
Okay, thank you. Because
right?
I didn't know if you meant. Okay, got
Yeah, I think guys are trained. I think we're fundamentally, that's just not the thing, right? Like, I think more men are getting that there's damage done by not connecting and all the things, but I think fundamentally, especially if somebody says like I miss when men were men, they mean I miss when you didn't say nothing, you just drank your whiskey and went to sleep, right?
it. Mm-hmm.
Um, but I wonder if we've gone through so many cycles of protect that's part of why we see some of the like deep disconnects
Ooh,
that we're
I should
talking
have
about.
brought a pen over here because I want to write that down. The protect, yeah. Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Yes.
if like just think of like just as two entities. If I'm like, I don't know if I can trust Maisha, and then based on my distrustful behavior, you're like, I don't know if I can trust Orlando, and then based on
Yeah.
your distrustful behavior, like, some of the conversations I see online are so antagonistic that I'm like, why do you want to date? Like, if that's how you feel, and I mean this, and I hate both sides conversations. So let me just say, I'm just saying I've seen men do it, and I've seen women do it. I'm not saying it's equal,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying if that's how you feel about men, I totally don't understand how you would ever say yes to a dinner invitation. And if that's how you feel about women, I don't see how you would ever say yes to a dinner
Mm-hmm.
invitation. But I wonder if part of it is this like continual push toward protect yourself, protect yourself, protect
I
yourself.
think I think as you say, I never thought about it like that, but as you're saying it, just yeah, it
You
sounds
know,
right. Yeah, because that's what it is. Like I'm not answering the phone when you text me right away or when you call me right away because I have to act like I don't care that much. I wasn't looking at my
right?
phone to
That's
see.
the
I have to
point, right?
act like I wasn't, but I really was looking forward to talking to you. But
Right.
now, yeah.
So yeah, so we're and I guess I'm not suggesting that there's anything specific to be done about it. I guess everybody has to decide what it is for them, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's what I am. Maybe bringing it back to the conversation and bringing these together. Maybe that's the align piece. Is I think finding a way to be honest with
Mm-hmm.
ourselves and each other.
Oh, I like that too. Write it down. This should be in the show notes.
Yeah. But like it's funny as we're talking about it now, and we really didn't, I didn't know we were going here, and I'm sort of we're doing this in real time. But are you able? I have honesty as a part of my who. For those who are not familiar, we'll talk about our who over time, but it's generally about 3 to 5 words, characteristics you use to describe how you show up best. And one of mine is honesty. or honest, excuse me. And what I decided honest is the definition for it for me is to choose the choice to live in reality. Right? So I can lie to myself and be dishonest. I can lie to you and be dishonest. But there's something about reality that I'm not engaging, or I'm ignoring, or I'm augmenting, but I'm not living in reality. Right? I'm dating somebody, and somebody asked me, "Do you have a girlfriend?" Now I've never called this woman my girlfriend, so I say no. Well, that's not honest. This is not honest. Like, I get
Right.
how it is technically a correct answer. It is not honest. And so I wonder if the key is for us to be able to be honest with ourselves and each other about where things really are. Like, maybe that would help with that part of the conversation. I know we didn't set out to talk about dating.
Yes, but no, we didn't. But since you brought it up, yes. But what I find in my dating life, my girlfriend, it's funny, she doesn't know I'm doing live, so she's texting me. But anyway, same. What I find in my dating relationships, dating life experiences is that you can't always be honest in the beginning, especially not in the beginning, especially not women. I mean, you can. Don't let me not say that you can't, but sometimes it's frowned upon. I had a girlfriend call me the other day, new guy. She's been dating for a couple months, but it's and he's being inconsistent, which I unfortunately found a lot in my dating life too. Guys are being inconsistent. Maybe some of us are too, but anyway, in this circumstance, he was being inconsistent. When they hung out, it was a great time. He might call the next day, he might not, or he might call every day for 2 days and then fall off, and then so it was inconsistent. But she was finding herself liking him, so and she felt like they had a nice vibe. So she was asking me if she could be honest with him. Basically, should she be honest with him? Because you ask that, guys tend to either run away or look at you like, "Why are you asking so much? This is all new." Like you should feel bad about how you feel.
Right.
I find. But it goes
back
to that protection piece that you were talking about.
Right. So in a way, it's like I can't trust you because we're probably not being honest, and I can't be honest because I can't trust you. So that's
because the guy might say, if I say, where do you see this going, right? Which to me is a fair question.
Sure.
That also helps me know how I'm moving.
Right.
I need to know. That's how I. So, but then if I ask that, you could either be dishonest and say, "Oh, I want to see where it goes. So I'm looking for a long-term relationship." But if you're not, and then I start moving that way, then that's not helpful.
Right.
Or if you make me feel bad because I asked you the question and I still mess with you anyway, but it is a good question to ask because you usually can tell if they're being honest or if they.
So how do we obviously I've been married since horse and buggy, so this is all theoretical for me on that level. But how do you find your mojo in that space then? If you're being here right now, going back to that idea of like being absolutely present to this moment, taking that TL's idea and walking it a little bit forward, how do you take care of yourself? Because I think that's fair, and find your mojo if you're not really doing you.
So that great question. Yeah, it's great questions. Have you done this before? This sounds a lightweight cliche, but you really just have to be you. You also have to pay attention because I mean, I don't know. You usually can tell, but sometimes it takes a little. Everybody is different, so it takes more work sometimes to figure it out. But I think it's what you said. You got to be honest to you and be okay with being honest about whatever you're gonna get back. Because he might even say, "Oh, I kind of want to see where it goes. I'm not really sure." That's an answer too. You're not really sure, but I am, so that gives me my answer. So
right.
You do have to be honest, but you have to be ready for the response or the answer to the question. And you can't date if you're not ready to do that because people are dishonest, and you still should protect yourself. But also, you're gonna be you, whether you with that guy or not, or the girl, whatever the situation.
Yeah.
But if you're yourself, regardless, it might hurt or your feelings get hurt, but you still gotta be okay with you every day. Because I have a great time, even when the guys are crazy. Even when they ghosting, even when they love bombing. We'll get into that.
Right. Yes. No, that was all there's a few of you who have been kind enough to let me know what's going on in these Dayton streets. So yes, the
And
love
now it ain't
bombing
easy
definitely.
being me or you, but
Yeah,
you can do
yeah,
it. That's
yeah.
what
I
you have
got
to
you. I got
show
you.
up as in order to make it all work.
Um, another element that came up, related maybe, but I did want to like bring it up and see where you land on it. You mentioned that other people might see the impact of therapy on you maybe before you, or sort of like report it back to you. And I was just curious, did you have anything in mind when you asked that? How did you feel like his response to that? Just what was your yeah, I was curious about the comment and the sort of it wasn't technically a question, but it was in part of conversation to bring out more from him. So yeah, what led you to say that, and as you sit here now, what do you think about it?
Why did I ask that? I think because now I haven't been to a therapist, don't see one currently or anything, but we also were talking about some other things that are therapy or therapeutic to
Mm-hmm.
one
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that can be. So when I think about some of those things that I do, like at some point, I pride myself on being on time and always being on time. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'm not. Sometimes stuff
Mm.
happens. But for whatever reason, at some point in my life, I decided that I don't like to rush. I do not like to rush, which is why I
Right.
probably don't like to be late. But if I am late, that is okay. So
Right.
I didn't tell anybody. I didn't say, Orlando, this is what I'm going to start doing. I just had a conversation with myself that I was
Right.
going to stop rushing. I feel better when I'm not rushing. My heart not beating fast. I'm not making
That
stupid
part.
mistakes. I'm not tripping over my ankle on the way I like. I just decided
Mm-hmm.
to. So I noticed that about me. I don't know if you noticed that about me, but I noticed that I
Right.
did that. So that's kind of where I was going when I asked that question, because I was just wondering, does he have more of an inner calm when he started doing that, or less angry,
Yeah.
whatever the issue was, before other people noticed that?
Now I want to share my reaction, but I'm curious about the thing about the rushing and the being late. I because it's a particular okay. This is where I go. It's a particular kind of self care to just say this sequence of events leads me to have an experience I don't want to have anymore. So what do I need to do to not have that experience? And I'll share with
Mm.
you. It's funny because you mentioned that specifically. I could be and was for years a real drill sergeant around being on time. In part because my mother was always late. It made me insanely crazy. Like, uh, oh my God. Oh my God. But then what I found was I got to be so, frankly, obsessed about it that I was driving myself crazy and I was driving everybody around me crazy.
I can see it. I got a
You,
visual.
you know what I'm saying? And I had to admit, like, nah, y'all ain't wrong. Like, I am going off. Like, you know what
Please
I'm
calm
saying?
down. That's what I like to tell
You
people
know
when they
what I'm
get all
saying?
angry. Please calm down.
You know?
In
And
the
so
midst of the madness, so you have to say it then,
so
because
yeah,
it's not funny.
it's right there. So yeah, so I guess I'm curious what led you to it and then how you actually did it. Because to me, that's the align your mojo part that we talk about, that like what we want
The
to bring out in
how.
these conversations. Like, okay, so how did you think about it? How did you approach it? What was your who when you approached it? Were you curious? Were you this? Were you that? Like, how did you manage to take something like that, which I'm sure the fact that you and I have our versions of that story, whoever watches this, I'm sure many people will have their versions of it. Yeah, how did you
I start
how did
because
you approach it? Yeah.
I told you I'm kind of logical, which is why sometimes when people do stuff, it annoys me more often than not. But I just started paying attention to, like, how much quicker when I'm rushing, how much quicker do I get there? 2 more minutes, maybe.
That's right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
noticed like things that were, and I watch other people rush, like even car accidents. I was telling my mother the other day, most car accidents, somebody rushing. You're trying to go around, you're trying to get through the
Mm-hmm.
light while it's
Now
yellow. You
what?
know you should stop. So now you get a car accident, the police stop you, like something. Why are we rushing?
Yeah.
Just calm down. Because
Yeah.
if I'm late, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna be late, and then we're gonna carry on, right? The
Yeah.
event is still gonna happen. I might miss the bus, but there's gonna be another one coming. It might be a little later than the one I want. Yeah, I started thinking about it more logically and seeing how much
Mm-hmm.
calmer I was about getting out the house or
Yeah.
going to the thing when I started doing it, I was less anxious. I wasn't sweating on my way to get there. Like I thought about things more thoroughly before I left. I didn't forget my keys. I didn't forget my wallet because I wasn't
Mm,
rushing.
right. Right. Yeah. No, I've definitely tried to get to where I'm planning better, so it doesn't come to all that. But also, yes, I agree with you. There's a John Wooden, the famous UCLA basketball coach, John Wooden. He had a quote he used to say to those players: "Be quick, but don't hurry," which I think is
Mm.
very in line with what we're saying here about being talking about right now, right now. Because to be quick is in this moment. To be quick is like I am moving quickly right now in the thing I'm doing right now. To hurry is to be over there, right? Like that's what you're. And so I always remember that be quick but don't hurry.
And it's so I was like that you bring it up and ask me how because it also leads to things like not rushing leads me to being present. So now I'm talking to you right now. I'm not talking to you right
Mm-hmm.
now trying to grab my coat, get out the door, put on my shoes.
Yeah.
It leads
That's,
you to being more present, which leads you to be less anxious, which leads you to be more at one with yourself because you're here.
right.
So
You know,
it's great
it's
cause and effect.
we don't tell people. I have strong feelings. We don't tell people you're who you figure out. We'll work with you too, but it's not like be these things.
Mm-hmm.
I actively resist that. But I will say, I don't see how you would use the Align approach or find your mojo, frankly, without being present in some sort of, if not persistent way. Like I don't see how you would do it. I think it's required. I'm not saying it needs to be listed in your who, but I think it's interesting that for my story, for your story, for Tito's story, I'm trying to think of one success story I thought I could think of where the person was just like totally future focused. Now you can plan for the future. You can have a vision. That's not what I'm saying, but you still ultimately have to be here.
Do you know that I keep talking about Oprah today. Well, not keep, I mentioned it once before. But when I first started watching her show, when she had a talk show, she used to say that all the time. You got to be present. You got to be present. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? I'm
Right.
right here. I don't. What do
Right.
you mean present? So
Right.
not until, like you said, I was persistent about being present that I really understand what that. You'll even have a whole different conversation with somebody if you're present and you're not
Absolutely.
doing your. I was about to say homework, but you're not doing
Yeah.
your work or
Yeah.
trying to read a book or scan a magazine. If it's a whole different. You're paying more attention. You have much more to say. You absorb more.
Yes.
Yeah, and that I had to live present before I knew what it was. I was like, it's just everybody's present. I'm standing right here. I had no idea what that
Well, I think it's easy not to, and I also think we're not really encouraged to be present,
meant.
right? Like societally, we're always being pulled. Like I don't know if you could run a capitalist society that encourages you to be present because you
Mm.
always got to need something. I could part of it is being convinced we need things we done lived all these years we ain't had that thing, but somehow now we need that thing. Like that's part of
Mm-hmm.
the system, and I think allowing us to be present. I should say it like that, and I don't want to get into my worldview stuff, but like I think if you're gonna have a system that's built on striving and acquiring, I think you discourage people from being present. And maybe that's part of what I enjoyed about your conversation in part is I didn't hear I heard Tito saying he's continued to do his work and that right? It wasn't just like, oh, instant fix, everything's great, I'm present now. But
Mm-hmm.
he was really he seemed present. He seemed so fully in this moment. He seemed so aware that like I've done some healing, I have some healing to do.
That is a great point. Yes.
But he
Yeah.
was very seeing he had a real clarity around this moment that he was in. And I think maybe that I didn't think about it till right now as we're talking about it, but I think that's part of what I enjoyed
Yeah, you felt
is,
it. You heard him say it. You felt it
yeah,
by listening to it. That's really true. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and it's for me recently. I was driving, and I'm working on being more present. It's one of those things too. I think once you like you discover this, and then you go like, then you're gonna take it a little further and further and further. So that's also
Mm-hmm.
part of it. But I was saying like, I tend to be very like I told you like in terms of career goals or whatever. I'm very much like if I'm driving to your house, every moment I'm driving, I'm is a moment I'm not at your house. That's how I experience it. Which is not
Mm-hmm.
that's not helpful. Well, I guess maybe theoretically it could be, but like for me in my life, it's not helpful. Like this
Mm-hmm.
channel right now, like you said, we're having this conversation. We can't build to 100,000 viewers in this conversation right now. We're recording this conversation, and
That's right.
and I would experience it so often as like, all right, let's get it. How we gonna get it?
Mm-hmm.
And it took away from this. And the thing that I came up with is I'm not there because it made
Right.
me think. It made me pause. It made me go like, wait, that means I'm not there. So then where am I? I'm here. It like put
Mm. New
it put an
perspective.
extra step in there. Yes, it gave me another perspective of a way to look at it. And
Yeah.
to you keep thinking you're not there, and that's not a real place. A real place is here. This is a real
Mm.
place.
Yeah. That
Uh,
makes me think my current manager. I just started working back at Scholastic, and maybe I was there for 3 or 6 months. I had an ad. I put the nice ad in, but the subject line was a different offer than the one that was in the ad.
hmm.
And it was because I was so busy trying to do everything right. I was checking the boxes and not being present. Not being, I was just
Mm-hmm.
execution, execution. I got to do it. I got to do it. And she said to me, she said, just pause, take a beat. So I think of
Mm-hmm.
that often. People don't know some. It's so funny they don't realize some of the things. I don't think I even realized that I needed
Mm.
somebody to tell me that. So when
Right.
I find myself doing that thing, it's another reason to slow down is that you don't make as many mistakes.
Right.
All of
Right.
these
Right.
lovely
Right.
things that happen when you stop rushing. So take a pause. That's what I try to do.
It's funny you say that. I had a player, short version, great, just a great kid. He had lost his dad, so I put an extra arm around him, just like, whew, I know that
Mm-hmm.
must be. So anyway,
Mm-hmm.
but he would get real anxious, and I know a thing or two about feeling anxious, so I always. And so I just got into this thing with him where I was like, breathe. I said, before every play, you gotta take a breath. Every single play. I don't wait to use it. So he would do something, and you could just see like you only messed that up because you was all over, and I'd be like, breathe, breathe. So now here I am like screaming, breathe across the field. And it was funny because when he graduated from middle school, and I've known him, and I'm still in touch with him. He's like 20 years old now, and I
Mm-hmm.
still send him that. I still tell him, breathe,
Nice. You see? Yeah.
breathe. But yeah, and you're right. It was a long time. Usually, if somebody said something like that to me, it was because I was upset, right? Or like I was, but like just the idea that like no, not because you're upset and need to calm down, just breathe, like breathe
Yeah.
always, like
Always right.
you know what I mean?
You'd be surprised how when I first started working out with a trainer, he used to tell me that breathe. I'm like, oh yeah, because I'm literally holding my breath. It might be
Yeah,
easier to lift this weight if I'm breathing.
yeah. Which I don't know why that's an instinct, but I think we
Yeah.
do it in real life. I like to take the physics ideas or like physical ideas and then say like, how could we think of that? And at one point, one of the things I thought of for what we're talking about, which was like, how do I take care of myself emotionally, psychologically? Was I started thinking about the idea of relative velocity, like how fast things are moving compared to each other. And whether it's my instinct, my personality, my training, my culture, whatever you want to say, my instinct when life start coming at me is, I let's go then, like, and then I'm going. But what
Mm-hmm.
I got myself to think about was if life is coming at me and I start going at life, I have less reaction time and the hits are gonna be harder. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
that's physics, right? Like I just thought about it in terms of physics. So I've been trying, and this helps me with being present. Is if life is coming at me faster, how can I slow down? right? How can I
Yeah,
stand
yeah,
still? Because life is coming anyway. So maybe just stand still for a second. At
yeah. I
least
like
take away
that.
your velocity from it. And
Hmm.
it's been really helpful. It's been really helpful because I promise you, my instinct is almost always if something comes at me to go at it. Like,
Mm.
I wish I could explain how you can take that through my whole life. So I
Wow.
really had to teach myself, and I am teaching myself. Can you be here? Can you slow down and not do that? Because I think some of the hits are so hard because of that. Then that's a whole other thing. So it's like the equivalent of forgetting your keys, right? Now I'm derailed. Now it's 2-3 weeks before I'm back on my feet. Like, just maybe slow down in the first place. Don't try to go
Yeah.
around the car, right? Don't run to the
Yep.
yellow light. Just chill.
Right. Just chill. Just stay back. Hurry up
Yeah,
and make the left turn before the car comes. Then you weren't quite quick enough. Okay.
that part.
See,
And it
it's
doesn't mean
late.
be passive. It doesn't mean don't
Right.
drive
It's
at
late.
all. But yeah,
Right.
I think there's so much power. I don't, and this is beyond the conversation you had. Well, let me ask you. I'll tell you what I do, and I'll ask you a question. So I was gonna say, I don't. Weight is not. It's not natural to me in terms of how I see
Hmm.
things, and it even right now as we say it, I'm like, ooh, wait. But is that something that you find you're able to do, like in the way that you're present, that you are able to be like, it's not the time for that now. You know what I mean? Like, what's
You
your,
know, I never thought about it like that, but I think so. Like how some
yeah,
people, I watch people a lot too, so I try to pay attention. I don't just do things. So this is what I want to say right now. If you're asking
mm,
me how am I doing today, I want to say, are we going to bus? Are we going to the party tomorrow? Like I try, so maybe it is. Like I definitely try to be thoughtful about my delivery for sure, for sure. So
yeah,
I
I
guess
see
I
that.
must. And so then when people don't, like some people talk too close to your face, say stuff when it's inappropriate. You know I bought this. You know I bought this right. You know I bought the chicken. I'm the one who paid for it. I'm the one who did it. And I'm
Ah,
like, that's
yeah,
so in my head. I'm like, that's so unnecessary. But I know well enough not to say it.
right,
But yeah,
right.
so maybe I am that. And even when I first started bartending at the place where I am now, he said, out of all the people that get mad, one person said to me, I could see like you were the least person that you would let somebody like ruffle your feathers. And I don't like act like that. I just don't because I could be mad, but I'm still late. That's what another my favorite phrases that I use too when I'm rushing or I'm getting nervous that I might be late. I was
Right.
like, you could be mad, you could be late, but you're still gonna be late. Whatever happens, I could be mad that I missed the bus, but I still
But
missed the bus. So,
yeah.
so that's what
Well,
I'm gonna do about that.
I guess that's presence too, right?
Hmm.
Because a lot of times we're mad about things like that, and believe me, I could take that from my life's goals down to this morning's walk of the dogs. We're mad because it's not going the way we wanted it to go. But that was another thing I worked on actually over the last few months. Is like that never existed. I act like somebody stole my reality where I caught the bus. You never caught the bus, bro. There ain't nobody kick you off the bus. You missed the bus. But
Mm,
I act like my experience of it
right,
because
because
my
what you
plan.
mad at? Yes,
This is hello. This is
because
Earth
we came
One.
too early. You went there too late. Like I don't know what you mad at, but that happened.
It already happened. Like you can't unmiss the bus. But I'll be mad. Like I could really unmiss
Yep.
the bus. So like now I'm
Mm-mm.
gonna run and catch the bus. You're right. It is. What do you do? So there's something about the presence there too to be like that is where we now are. Mine and my cousins when I was working on it actively used to laugh because I would say, okay, this is where we are. And I would say this, he started laughing because I kept saying that. But it was because I was really actively training myself
Hmm.
to get out of that habit because I would really be like, I thought you were gonna do this. It's like, but they didn't do that.
The disappointment. Yeah, the
But
disappointment piece.
in a
That's
way,
really important.
disappointed in what though? Like,
Right, right.
what
Because
do
it
you
didn't
mad?
happen.
It didn't happen. You never had it. It's like I'm mad after the Powerball numbers come out, and I'm mad now. I'm gonna go down there. I bought a ticket. Like, well, it wasn't your jackpot, brother. Like, it's a
Hmm.
lottery. It's a lottery, and I think sometimes it's hard to accept how much of life is a lottery. I'm just running with that now that I
Yeah.
said it out loud. And
Yeah.
I want it to be no. I chose these numbers. I know why I chose them, and these should be the winning numbers. And it's
Mm-hmm.
no, no, that's not it. Anyhow, we're getting close to an hour. We're about 50 minutes here. So I wanted to just ask you about a practice you shared that I thought was a really powerful way to take care of ourselves. And you mentioned that you write down whatever you've been carrying through the day before you go to bed.
I did
Yeah,
that.
and I was just curious to hear more about that. I'd never heard anybody like I've heard gratitude journals, I've heard this, I've heard that. I never heard anybody put it like that. And so I was wondering where you got that practice from and what you get from it. I guys want to hear more about that. I thought it was interesting.
That's funny. I forgot I shared that with you. So it was a girlfriend of mine at work. We weren't even friends yet. I think we were new acquaintances at work, and I can't remember what the issue was, but I knew it was silly. Whatever it was something somebody said to me, or the way they said it to me, and I didn't like it. And this thing stuck with me for
Mm,
like 2 or 3 days. And I mean, it was probably was a 5 second something,
right, but
nothing
it
that really
just
was. It
mm,
just I couldn't get over it. So she said,
right,
"You know what I do?" And so I tried to do it because there's always something in the day that you wish you didn't miss the
right,
bus, or you wish that.
right.
So at the end of every night, I write down something that I want to let go of, that I need to just wipe off my spirit. And I was surprised that it worked the next day. See, I can't even remember what it was right now. But when I tell you
Interesting.
that thing stuck with me for 3 days, I write it down. Whether it's
Mm-hmm.
my friend hung up the phone on me, the way I told my boyfriend off, whatever it is,
Right, right,
I
right.
write it down. Even if it's one sentence, sometimes it's 2 or 3 things I need to let go at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day. But
Because
yeah,
that's
right before I
another
go to sleep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying right before I go to sleep.
Yeah, because actually, as much as we were just talking about the future part, I I I know I've had challenge of like letting go of those things,
Mm-hmm.
and oftentimes it's the smaller things because you don't or I didn't address it or blah blah blah. So it's like and just that giving yourself permission to be like that is the past and I'm now going to be in the present and I'm going to step into the
Mm-hmm.
future and it can be over and it doesn't like it's like I want to go back and resolve everything like in fourth grade was so and so said this, you know what I mean? It's
Yes,
like
yes.
how
Mm-hmm.
about if we just let that be the past, because guess what, it's not going to be the 80s again no matter how hard you try.
Right.
But so I just found that fascinating. Is that something you do nightly? Is that something you do if something's bothering you? Is that sort of like what kind of like for you?
I
What kind of
usually do it
practice is
nightly. Something about at night and it being the end of the day, you're
it?
not
Mm-hmm.
waking up with it the next day.
That makes a
Just letting
lot
it go
of
before my
sense.
head hits the pillow. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, yeah. No, I thought that was a fascinating take. Um, so I guess the piece here we keep talking to people about their mojo. When you're doing the things that we've described in this conversation, like I want to ask you about your who. I'm thinking about mine too. But when you're being your most well emotionally and psychologically well self, how do you show up when you miss the bus to let that bus be gone, or when you are late and you decide, well, I'm already late. I ain't no sense of being upset and late. The things that
I'm
we've
gonna
been
buy another
talking
cup of
about.
coffee. No.
Yeah.
I'm
You know what I'm
already
saying?
late now.
Yeah, now don't worry about it now. No, but like, yeah, like what? How do you like if you were to describe that version of Mojo? What?
So
How do you
my
show up?
my some of my words, I don't have my yellow sticky notes right next to me like I usually do, but a
Mm-hmm.
lot of my some of my who's, I only have 4 or 5. Right, one was
Mm-hmm.
fun, smart, intelligent.
Mm.
I don't remember the rest, but I think I try to remember to be fun, to make it fun. I mean, it's not fun when you miss the bus,
But.
but also know that I'm also usually in most situations I'm usually a very calm person anyway. So I
Mm,
remember, I try to remember
mm,
that, and then
mm.
figure out what. So now what? What am I
So
going to do about it now? So now I missed the bus. So now what happens? That's usually
right,
where I go with it.
right. Yeah, it makes sense. To bring you back to this moment, right? Like
Yeah,
what
come back
decisions
to the
need to be
middle,
made.
like my favorite girl, India Irie says. I try to come back to the middle.
She is a treasure.
Hmm.
That's cool. I guess for me, at my best, honest. That's this year I introduced honest in that way to my who. Um,
Mm.
and the other one I think is loving. And by that I mean, I've shared with you the definition, but to share it with the folks who are watching us. Um, for the sake of a line, we define love as an investment in the optimization of outcomes for someone or something. So basically, wanting the best for somebody or something. And I find when I'm practicing mindfulness, when I'm eating well, when I'm exercising, when I'm keeping a gratitude journal, I'm going to start. I don't know if it'll be every night because I don't do almost anything every day, but writing down the one thing I'm going to let go today. Um, that it usually comes from a place of caring about me. And usually when I'm in my overdrive, I sleep when I'm dead mode, it's about other people. It's about
Mm.
outside stuff. When I'm paying attention to me, I'm much more likely to do the psychologically healthy thing. That's
Dope, I like it.
Yeah. So I would say honest and loving for me probably stand out as like
So that makes me think about something you were saying the other day about Karen. You were really, it wasn't the other day, it was today, about sad. You felt so helpless, almost is how you
mm,
described it, because somebody
yeah.
else was sad and you couldn't keep them or protect them from that.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
You
and
see,
I'll go into deeper into the stories like another time. We had a few minutes, but
right, right.
but but yes, what I found was there were some key events of my childhood that, as I now go back to them, like it was really sad events, but as I go back to them, I realized that part of why they like had such a hold on me was that I could see, like I had never seen people be that sad. Like
Hmm.
there were a number of deaths, and the first two of the three, like people I knew personally, these adults were like laid out. They were useless to themselves or anybody. Like people were trying to just even get them to like drink some water. And I just remember being like, this is scary. Like looking back, I'm like, I didn't use those words then, but like I was scared. Like I was like, so this is what sadness looks like. Like it's crazy. And yeah, realizing that it came from a place. My holding on to those in a way came from its own place of love, because it wasn't just about me. It was like somebody did something that made my family feel like this.
And
And
I bring
so
that up. I brought that up because when you were asking about my who and different things, it made me think of who I want to be. And I was thinking, I know I keep going back to relationships, y'all. Clearly, we need to talk about this at some point. But I
yeah.
remember my last big breakup, if you will, was
Hmm.
lasted way long. Like I was ready to break up with that man a year before I did. But I was
Hmm.
holding on to that because I wonder what it is about me one day when I go to a therapist that make me. I was in that
Mm.
relationship for him. I was nervous about how he would feel when I left. I was ready to break up with that man a year before. And the same thing for
Mm.
the relationship before that guy. Maybe it wasn't a year,
Mhm.
but months before I broke up with him, I knew I was done. I knew I was
Mhm.
done, but I was holding on to, or keeping, not holding on to them because I was gone. But I was
Right.
staying in the relationship because I was worried about how they felt more than my feelings. I
Mhm.
would have, I mean, I think I look lighter. That was another one of those things where I know I felt different when I broke up with him. I don't know if somebody else saw it. My friends told me they did, but
Mhm.
I could tell how much I changed by finally breaking it off. So I just
Hmm.
wonder what happened to me, or in the past, maybe something happened to me that I saw
Mhm.
how sad somebody was when they broke up with
After a
somebody
breakup, yeah, yeah,
after a
yeah, yeah,
breakup. That
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, oh, well, maybe it
I,
was me. Maybe one of my
right,
worst breakups.
right,
I remember how that felt, and
right.
so
So you
I
don't
don't
want to
want.
make somebody else. No, that makes sense. I could definitely see that,
Yeah.
and that's a great example, and we can wind it up. But that's a great example of
Mhm.
what I'm saying about therapy, in my opinion, at its best. Like, let's say you did discover that. I mean, we don't know that, but let's just say, well, then you could, and that's part of what we do in our coaching too, right? We say like, okay, you feel that way, but we see that the thing that is actually aligned with where you want to go is to break up with this man. And a little bit of disclosure, because we coach each other all the time. We worked on some of this stuff together. So then, like, okay, now that we know that that's what's going on, then you can work around it or work with it or like process it. Talk through like, yes, he gonna be sad, but right, and
He
then
gonna
we
be
can.
all right.
He gonna be all right, and you need to go.
That part. Man,
But I
listen.
think, if you never understand what the pull is,
The pool.
then you
Yeah,
just
yeah,
keep. I'm
yeah.
gonna break up
Right.
with him, and then you get there and you're like, you hungry? You know what I mean?
Right. That was what was happening. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's a whole moment.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. We'll talk about all that. But no, I just thought it was a brilliant conversation in terms of just having him just share, just needing to deal with emotion. And again, I will say it and I'll keep saying it. That is just not really a priority, as in my experience of growing up as a boy, and I think even today, as much as has moved forward, I just think like dudes don't know what to do with these feelings, and they just
yeah. Turn over the tables. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
real, for real. It's easier.
Yeah. How about that?
It's
How about
easier.
that?
Listen, I've been punched in the face, and I've had my heart broken. And let me tell you, you can punch me in my face 20 times. Dead in the face.
How about
so
that?
that's hard. That's hard. Anyhow, as
Yeah.
always, we are aligning our mojo. Check us out. We'll be here live on Fridays. We went a little earlier today. We're going to be doing 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. That may very well change. The point is we're aligning our mojo. We want you to join with us. Join in community. Check out all the Align original shows. And we are going to have more on what else is out here for you. But we want everybody to have this opportunity to be their best selves and live their best lives. And that's what we are about.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
All
And you'll
right.
be able to find Mojo from them show notes. I'm going to get them done.
All right. It's on.
All right. Talk
All
soon.
right.